HOA hated my fence design, so I built a 10-foot brick wall with gargoyle spikes on top. Have you ever poured your heart into something only to have it torn apart by a group of clipboard-wielding neighbors? That's exactly where I found myself, standing in my front yard, staring at a letter from the HOA Unacceptable Fence Design. It read, the words practically sneering, "My dream of a cozy, wooden picket fence painted a soft sage green to match my garden was deemed inconsistent with community standards." I'd spent weeks sketching, measuring, and saving for that fence, imagining it framing my roses and giving my little bungalow a storybook charm. But the HOA, they saw it as a threat to their cookie-cutter vision of suburban perfection. I was livid. This wasn't just about a fence. It was about my right to make my home mine. So, I decided to fight back. Oh, did I fight back? The HOA's letter came with a list of approved designs, all as bland as unsalted oatmeal. Beige chain link, gray vinyl, or, if you were feeling wild, a slightly darker shade of beige. I wasn't having it. I'd moved to this neighborhood for its quiet streets and big lots, not to be micromanaged by Karen, the HOA president, who wore her authority like a crown and her smile like a weapon. I'd seen her at meetings, her pen tapping impatiently as she shot down every suggestion that didn't align with her vision of uniformity. My fence wasn't even up yet, just a proposal submitted for approval, and she'd already rejected it. I called her, hoping to reason. "Karen," I said, keeping my voice steady, "it's just a fence. It's not like I'm painting my house neon pink." Her response? Cold. "Rules are rules, Emily. Submit a new design by Friday or face fines." Fines? For a fence that didn't even exist yet. That's when I knew this wasn't about aesthetics, it was about control. I spent that night fuming, pacing my kitchen, my dog Rusty whining at my agitation. But then, an idea sparked, wicked and glorious. If they wanted to play hardball, I'd give them something to talk about. I dove into the HOA bylaws, every mind-numbing page of them, searching for loopholes. And there it was, buried in Section 4.2. Fences must not exceed 10 feet in height and must be constructed of approved materials, including brick or stone. No mention of design specifics beyond that. No rules about embellishments. A grin spread across my face. Karen wanted a fight? She'd get one. I wasn't just going to build a fence. I was going to build a statement. The next morning, I called my contractor friend, Miguel, who had a knack for turning wild ideas into reality. You sure about this?" he asked, chuckling as I laid out my plan. "Oh, I'm sure," I said. "I want a 10-foot brick wall, red as a fire truck, with gargoyle spikes on top. Make it look like a fortress from a Gothic novel." Miguel didn't blink. He'd dealt with HOAs before and knew the score. We spent days designing it. A towering, solid brick structure, each brick chosen for its deep, almost defiant red hue. The gargoyle spikes were custom mortar-edge-gnarled, stone creatures with snarling faces, their wings spread as if ready to pounce. By the time we submitted the new plans, I could barely sleep from the thrill of it. The HOA had 30 days to respond. They didn't. Under their own rules, silence meant approval. Game on. Construction began on a crisp fall morning, the kind where the air smells like possibility. The neighborhood buzzed as the first bricks were laid. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, some curious, others horrified. Mrs. Jenkins, the sweet retiree next door, brought me lemonade and whispered, "Good for you, dear. Karen's had it coming." That was the twist I didn't see coming. Mrs. Jenkins, with her cardigans and cat-themed mailbox, was a rebel at heart. She'd been fined years ago for planting tulips instead of the HOA-approved marigolds and had nursed a grudge ever since. "I've got your back," she said, winking. Her support felt like a secret weapon, a reminder that I wasn't alone in this fight. Karen showed up on day 3, her SUV screeching to a halt in front of my yard. The wall was already waist-high, the bricks gleaming under the sun. "What is this?" she demanded, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. I leaned against a stack of bricks, casual as could be. "It's my new fence, Karen. Fully compliant with Section 4.2. You didn't object to the plans, so here we are." Her face turned a shade of red that rivaled the bricks. "This is outrageous. It's an eyesore," she sputtered. I shrugged. "You didn't like my picket fence either. Can't please everyone." Miguel, hammering nearby, stifled a laugh. Karen stormed off, promising consequences. I didn't care. The wall was going up, and it was magnificent. The confrontation came at the next HOA meeting, a packed room of neighbors whispering and staring. Karen stood at the podium, her usual composure fraying. "Emily's structure is a deliberate attempt to undermine our community's values," she declared, pointing at a photo of my half-built wall, gargoyles glaring from the projector screen. The room erupted. Some cheered, others gasped. I stood up, heart pounding but voice steady. "I followed your rules, Karen. You rejected my simple fence for no reason, so I built something within the bylaws. If you don't like it, change the rules." The crowd murmured, and I saw Mrs. Jenkins nod approvingly from the back. Then, another surprise. Tom, the quiet guy who mowed everyone's lawns, stood up. "I like it," he said. "It's got character. This neighborhood could use some." The room split, half clapping, half muttering. Karen looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. The meeting ended in chaos, with Karen vowing to amend the bylaws and slap me with fines. But she'd underestimated the neighborhood. Over the next week, more neighbors rallied. Some left notes in my mailbox. Others stopped by to admire the wall. "It's bold," one said. "It's like you're saying, 'This is my home.'" The gargoyles, perched like guardians, became a local legend. Kids started calling my house the castle, and I leaned into it, adding ivy to the base for extra drama. But Karen wasn't done. She tried to push through an emergency bylaw change to cap fence heights at 6 feet, retroactively targeting my wall. She needed a 2/3 vote. She didn't get it. Mrs. Jenkins had been busy, rallying neighbors who were tired of Karen's iron fist. The vote failed, 60-40. Karen's downfall was quiet but brutal. At the next election, she was ousted as HOA president, replaced by Mrs. Jenkins, who promised a less dictatorial approach. Karen stopped attending meetings, her SUV no longer patrolling the streets. My wall stood complete, 10 feet of unapologetic brick and gargoyle glory. The fines never came. Turns out, you can't punish someone for following the rules. My yard became a haven, my roses thriving against the wall's bold backdrop. Neighbors started loosening up, to a bright blue mailbox here, a quirky garden gnome there. The neighborhood felt alive, less like a museum and more like a community. Looking back, I don't regret a single brick. That wall wasn't just about a fence. It was about standing up to someone who thought they could control everyone else's dreams. It was about saying, "This is my space and I'll make it mine." The gargoyles still watch over my yard, silent sentinels of a battle won. I hope my story inspires you to push back when someone tries to dim your spark. Have you ever had to stand up to a Karen in your life? Share your thoughts. What's right, what's wrong, and how far would you go to defend your vision?